All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, January the 4th, 2021, and 2021. And I actually, for some reason, in my head this morning, I thought it was the third. So I prepared a psalm for the third. And then I got in here and I said, it's going to be Psalm 63. And Antonio said, but today's the fourth. And I'm like, uh, uh, well, we're doing Psalm 63 today. So we're doing Psalm 63 today. But let me say good morning to everybody. Um, all right. Well, good morning to my mama. I love you, Mom. Good morning. I hope you're having a beautiful morning. Good morning to Deanna and to Pat and Lori. Hope you're feeling well, Lori. Hope you're getting better, recovering. Good morning to Ruti, Boker Tov. To you, good morning to Kelly Kenfield, and to shalom to you, Steve, and good morning to Charlene, and Jerry, and Janet, and to Jim, and Sarah, and Nicole. I hope you're doing well this morning, and good morning to Ellen, and Richard, and to and Richard, I heard that you said you wanted me to grow my hair. My mom said you said to grow my hair long and curly again. But see, here's the deal. My wife likes it as it is, so I'm gonna. It was long and curly because she said I want you to grow your hair long and curly, and then I did that. And so if I have to choose over who whose preference, Richard, I'm sorry, it's not gonna be you. So anyway, but I love you anyway, buddy. All right. Good morning to John and to Wendy and Emma and Sutton. Good morning, you guys. And good morning to Jessica. I see we have Jessica Devon. So we have Jerry. Is this another of Jerry and Janet's daughters? It's good to have you with us this morning. Good morning to Elizabeth and to Jesse and Philip and Salome. Good morning to all of you. And good morning to the Chaplowskis. And I think someone just had a birthday, so happy birthday to you guys, and I hope you're doing well. All right, and thanks, Steve. Steve likes my hair the way it is now. So even though Steve, and see here the deal is, my wife is all ultimately. I got to tell you guys the truth. See, I'm actually thinning. I think I wear my hat a lot. I mean, it's a mess right now but I'm actually thinning, and I'm actually coming to the place where I want to do the Mr. Clean thing, right? I just want to go bald, and just go for it. And but my wife said no, she's not ready for that yet. So she gets to make the final call, as I'm sure you can understand. Let's see, did I miss anyone on this page? Um, let's see. Good morning to Pastor and Sister Martinez in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area in Georgia, and praying for all of you guys out there. Georgia's, you moved from the frying pan into the fire, right? Going to Georgia now. Good morning to the Eddies. Oh, hey, you guys. To Lauren and Levi and Valor and Haven and Everett. I'm missing someone there. Lauren, we got Levi, Valor, Haven, Everett, and we're missing David. Well, tell David good morning as well. And good morning to Cher and to Rashad and Mignon and to Sonia Valenzuela. And good morning to Ron and Amy. Hope you guys are doing well. And to Kelly Woods in Independence. And, okay, all right. Buenos dias to Elva in Mexico City. It's good to be together this morning. All right, so we are in Psalm 63. You see, I'm wearing my Dolphin stuff. They got clobbered, like they needed to win the game yesterday. Like they had to win to get into the playoffs, and they didn't just not win. They played their worst game of the year. Just got destroyed. And nonetheless, here we are, and hopeful for next year, and thankful for having had a winning season. No one expected them to be much of anything, and it was a fun distraction every weekend to watch a little bit of football and enjoy some winning. So Miami Dolphins season is over, but the Psalms are not. So we're going to continue Psalm 63 this morning. Let me see here. And it's a psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judah. And initially, the thought might be that the context of this is when he's on the run from Saul. But the closing verse would indicate that David is already king here, which means he's not on the run from Saul. It's more likely that he's on the run from his own son. And this would be, I think either of those two times would have been particularly dark. I think young David wouldn't have the perspective to see anything more painful than running from the king to whom he had been faithfully serving, who he had been faithfully serving and devoted to. That would have been extremely painful. But I think as an older man, as a king, running from a son who is rebelling against him, at that stage he would be able to look and compare and say, boy, as bad as it was early, this is much more painful to have that coming from within, from his own family. Would have been extremely, I can imagine, would have been extremely difficult. So David's in the wilderness of Judah, likely on the run again. Again, not even with, when you look at both of those situations, there's a great book. If you haven't read it, I mean, it's so, it was one of these formative books for me. I read it probably when I was 19 years old. It's called A Tale of Three Kings by Gene Edwards. And, I mean, if there's an easy read, it's an easy read. I mean, it's a solid 90 small pages, something like that. It's really a tiny book, but it's profound. And it deals with kind of Saul, David, and Absalom. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And so here David is on the run, on the back end, saying, "Oh God, you are my God." And he uses the ata, the you. You are my God, like this. I'm looking to you. And it says, "Earnestly I seek you." And that's just one word, so there's not like, I'm seeking you earnestly. It's all tied up in one word, shachar. It's ashcharacha, which is to seek diligently, to inquire. It's the word shachar is made of three letters, shin, kaf, and re, shin, chet, and resh. And there's another word made of the exact same three letters with one slight vowel change. Sounds exactly the same, shachar, which means pre-dawn twilight. It's the early morning, right before as the sun is just coming up. And so in the Greek, in the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, they translated it for I awake, for you I awake at dawn. And so this idea of I'm earnestly seeking you, I'm getting up at the sun, as the sun rises, to get up to seek your face. And that's kind of wrapped up in this idea of this earnest, diligently seeking after the Lord. He says, "Oh God, you are my God. I'm waking up with the sun to seek you. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My very being, my nefesh, my soul, the whole of my being is thirsty for you. It thirsts for you. Kama lecha vasari," and then it says, "It craves for you, my body, my flesh." And the word used for craves, actually, depending on the context, would be it's a deep longing. In certain contexts, it's a word that it has to do with a craving or longing, or it can be used even, and this is not, but kind of lust is, in some contexts, that word is used. But the point is that the craving of his flesh is not a lust of the flesh for something else. What his flesh, what his body craves is the Lord. Like, that's where he is that's what he's hungry for. I'm thirsty for you. I'm craving after you. You're what I need. You are my God. I'm up early to seek you. He says, my soul thirsts for you. My flesh craves after you, or craves toward you, in a dry and a weary land where there is no water. It says, in a desert land that is weary without water, is literally. So he's saying, my yearning for you is like the longing of parched earth for water. You know, we had when we lived in Kansas City years ago. I mean, this place is continual drought. like we live in drought. That's the ongoing natural disaster of Arizona, is drought and heat. It's just, that's the deal. It's the desert. This is a dry and weary land where there is very little water. But when we lived in Kansas City, I remember we had what for Kansas City and for Missouri was a drought for I don't remember. It'd been something like a year, and it was 2003. And I remember it was Labor Day of 2003, and it just rained and rained and rained. And what I didn't know was that the side of our house, because of the drought, we had kind of a split level that kind of went half underground, so we had basement, and that the ground had moved away somewhat from the house. Everything, the land was not moist, and so it was there was a lot of room in there. So when all of that rain came down for probably 36 hours straight, the ground just drank it up, and so did my basement. So that was fun. That was a flood that I woke up to on Labor Day, which was fantastic. Anyway, I'm still marked by it 18 years later. All right, but he's saying my yearning to see God is like that dry land that's like, for there to be growth, for there to be life, for there to be something for me to give, I need you to pour out. This is a weary wasteland right now. So the solution to his longing, we'll see, is not by changing his geographic setting. It's not by changing his location, but by activating his recollection, his memory. He calls to mind now. I think of the passage, I think one of my favorite passages in all of the Bible is Lamentations chapter 3, right? That says, this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Like in the midst of rubble, in the midst of exile, right? Jeremiah says, this I call to mind, this I bring forth in my memory, and therefore I have hope, that it's because of the Lord's great love, because of his chesed, that we are not consumed. His mercies are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. And so what Jeremiah did in the midst of what looked like what was absolute destruction, in the midst of judgment, is that he draws upon the character of God, right? He remembers God's mercy. He remembers God's chesed, his love. He remembers God's truth, his faithfulness, and therefore he has hope. So he can wait on the Lord because the Lord is going to come through. And so now David on the run in the desert, right, in the wilderness, and he looks around at this wilderness and says, that's what my soul feels like. I need you. I'm like this ground around me is thirsty for water. I'm thirsty for you. I'm desperate for you, Lord. I'm up early in pursuit of you. He says, so I looked for you. I beheld you. It's Ken Bachodosh. So in your sanctuary, yes, in your sanctuary, I gazed upon you, is what he says. I looked upon you. I beheld you. I perceived you. He recalls being in the sanctuary of God to see your power, your strength, to see your glory, your kavod, your weightiness. Verse 4 says, Kitov chastecha machayim, because it says for good, literally it says for good is your love from life, which when you have the good and the from, it means better than. So that's where because better is your chesed, your love, than life. Because your chesed is better than life, my lips will praise you. My lips will shavach, will cry out your praise, will commend you to others. I will speak of you to others. So even this one now, it's not based on his current circumstances, still in the wilderness, still on the run, but he remembers who God is. He looked upon the Lord in his sanctuary. He's not left the wilderness. But spiritually, he has entered into the presence of God, into the sanctuary of God, to behold, to look upon God's power and God's might. And then in doing so, he re-engages with the character of God. Because your chesed, your love, your covenant loyalty and faithfulness is better than life. I'm going to make you known. My lips will praise you. So now you have this, as he remembers his mouth that is dry and dusty is now full of praise and blessing for God. Verse 5, he says, so I will bless you as long as I live. Or it says, ken avarechacha v'chayai. So I will bless you in my life. I will bless you with my life, with all that I am. So as long as I live is just, of course, that carries the idea. With my life, I will bless you. Not just with my words, right? It's not just with his voice that he's going to bless the Lord, but with all of my life. With my life, I will bless you, because your love is better than life. So with the entirety of my being, the entirety of my life, I will bless you. In your name, b'shimcha, I lift up my hands. And he uses the word, not the word for hands is yad. This is the word chafi, the chaf, which is the palms, the hollows of your hands. So in your name, I lift up the hollows of my hands. Verse 6. My soul is satisfied, is satiated, sabah, is satiated, as with fat and oil, as with so here he is, he's in the desert. So as he thinks upon what would his body normally be craving? Something tasty, something delicious. There's, so it uses the word chelev, which can be fat, but it's like milk, cream, and videshen, which is the fatness of, so whenever you have a nice steak, right? I mean, if you have a ribeye, the nice thing about a ribeye is it's got all of that fat in the midst of the meat, and when you cook it, that fat fills the meat with flavor and juice, and it's delicious, right? So normally, if you might be in a desert, think of Yeshua in the desert. Man does not live by bread alone, but as he's been fasting for 40 days, how hungry he would have been, right? And so as he's in the desert, he doesn't crave. His craving is for you. So as his body would crave for the milk and for the fatness, so my soul craves you. My soul is satisfied by you as with fat and oil. And therefore, my mouth, my lips, he says, and so with lips shouting joyfully, the word first to ranan, to shout joyfully, to lift up a shout. So with lips lifting up a shout is the praise of my mouth. So my mouth praises you with joyful lips. So now the emptiness of early on in verse 2 is filled with a richness of the bounty of what the Lord has. And now he moves from the table of God's bounty with the milk and the fat and the deliciousness to the darkness of the night. Verse 7, he moves to when he's upon his bed. He says, when I recall you on my bed, when I remember you on my bed, when I bring you to mind upon my bed, stretched out on the night. He goes, I meditate on you through the night watches. And the word again for meditate is hagah, which can mean meditate, muse, can mean to moan or sigh. Oh, in the dark of the night, through the watches of the night. The word for the watches of the night is ba'ashumurot. Shomer is to watch, preserve, pay close attention, and so it speaks of watchmen who are always looking. So through the watches of the night, on his bed, he meditates on the Lord. Sleep is at the evening, at night. That's a time when you lay down to go to sleep. All of a sudden, your mind starts to race. When you all of a sudden you struggle to go to sleep at times because all the stresses, all the fears, all the things that are you've been able to avoid with distraction and busyness through the day all of a sudden it comes racing into your mind at night. And so in the watches of the night, as his mind begins to get bombarded, right, through the night, instead of being focused on all the things that would bombard his mind, he set his focus on the Lord. I will meditate, I will muse upon you. My sighing, my moaning will be in you. I will meditate in you. Bacha is, so the preposition there is b, which is a bait, which is in you I will meditate. Verse 8. Ki hayita ezrata li. He says, because, ki is this for, because, because you have become a helper, a zer, my help, my support, the one who holds me up. You have been my help. I'll meditate on you. I'll sigh in you. I'll moan into you. Musing upon you, in you, because you have been, my helper has been you. And in the shadow of your wings, in the shadow of the word for wings is literally your edges. Yeah. In the shadow of your edges, I just need to get, you think about about the woman saying, if I could just touch the edge of his garment, right? And it's the same idea on the shadow. I just need to get to the shadow of your edges. In just, not even under your edges, just that it would be a covering to me of some sort, the shadow of it. In the shadow of your edges, of your wings, I shout joyfully. Ranan again is my joyful shout. So, and then of course the picture of the wings though gives you a picture. Remember, he's talking about, when I think about your sanctuary, and what's in the midst of the sanctuary is the Ark of the Covenant, and you've got the wings of the seraphim that are outstretched over the covenant, over the ark. And then in just the shadow of that, anywhere close to that, there's the joyful shout. Verse 9 says, my soul clings to you. Your right hand upholds me. The word cling, debach, is to be cling to be joined together. And it can actually be a word. Debech is to weld, to solderize, like to weld something so that it's as one. But it's interesting, and what I was surprised actually that I saw here was, it says in the Hebrew, here it just says my soul clings to you, but the word acharecha would be after you or following you, behind you. So my soul clings to you, but it's after you, it's behind you. So it's I'm welded to you, but not in a place of where I'm beside you, but where I'm behind you. I'm protected by you, but I'm clinging up tight. Like you're my shield. Like totally, I'm welded to you. My soul is welded to you, but you go before me is this picture, right? And so I don't have to fear. There's not any space between us. And there's nothing that can get to me because you are before me, right? So this is, as he meditates on the Lord in the wilderness, in the darkness of the night, as he muses upon the Lord, he says, my soul clings to you, no space between us. My eyes are on you. He says, and so you're before me, and then your right hand takes hold of me. It grasps me. Verse 10. Now there's this, again, the situation hasn't changed. The situation hasn't changed. He hasn't changed locations. It's not, the world hasn't been made perfect. He didn't wake up and everything, and it was just all a bad dream. No, the nightmare's still there, but the Lord will deal. The Lord is in control. I'm clinging to you. He says, but those, and they, and it's an emphatic they, vehema, and they who, in order to destroy, they are seeking, they're hunting my soul. Those who seek my soul to destroy it. Those for the sake of destruction, shoah, leshoah, in order to destroy, Yabakshu nafshi. They are hunting after, like searching for treasure, my soul. But they're not searching for treasure. They're searching like they want it, but to destroy it. They will go down into the depths of the earth. Betachiot haaretz. Verse 11. Here it says they'll be gutted by the sword. It literally says, Yagiruhu, it says it will be poured out upon him from the hand of the dagger. So whatever this is going to be, it will be poured out upon him from the hand of the dagger, or maybe perhaps gutted because it's poured out from him from the hand of the dagger, is perhaps maybe the what's being visualized here, and become a prey for jackals. They will become a portion appointed to shualim, which is foxes or jackals, is what they will become. So there's nothing that would be more of a shame than to be the food for animals, to be an unburied food for animals. And that those who basically, as he clings to the Lord, anything that comes against him to destroy him it's not going to go well. So as long as I'm with you, I don't have to fear. And there's an assurance. Again, nothing has changed, and there's an assurance that the Lord will protect him and the Lord will guard him. Verse 10. But the king will rejoice in God. What? What did I say? Verse 10? I said verse 10. I meant verse 12. Verse 12. But the king, Vahamelech, will rejoice in God. All who swear by him, kol hanoshbat bo, all making an oath in him, will boast, will exult, or there's an idea of those who, the question is this those who make their oath to God or those who are making their oath to the king? The king will rejoice in God. All who swear by him, who make an oath to him, will be praised. And I would lean toward making their oath in the Lord. The king is clinging to the Lord, so those who cling to the Lord will stay faithful to what the Lord is faithful to what the Lord is protecting. All who swear by him will boast when the mouth speaking lies is shut. And it uses the language ki yisacher, because it will be shut. It will be stopped up, like plugged up, like when you plug up a pathway of water. Because it will be plugged up, the mouth speaking deception. And so what we know is this, that all who trust in the Lord, all who rejoice in the Lord, all who put their confidence in the Lord will be vindicated, right? Because, and that though it seems that our world is full of deception, full of lies, but there is an assurance that there comes a point at which the mouth of the enemy, the mouth speaking lies, will be stopped up, will be plugged up. And this is why it's so key for us to daily run to the Word. Not to have it validate, not to say, God, validate what I believe to be true. Right? Because there are lies coming from every direction. And the question would be, Lord, what do you say is true? Lord, silence the lies of the enemy. Stop up, plug up the lies of the enemy. Open my ears to hear your voice. So David here is running in the desert. Undoubtedly, in either circumstance, whether it's for some reason from Saul or from Absalom, in both cases, he's being maligned. In both cases, he is being lied about. And yet, rather than taking on the battle as his own, which might seem like the strong thing to do, the powerful thing to do, he's on the run, which might seem like the weak thing to do, but he's running to the Lord, and he's longing for the Lord, and he's looking to the Lord and depending upon him and calling upon him. I think about, I run to this passage in I always forget if it's 1 Peter, I think it's 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 23, that says of Yeshua, when they hurled their insults, he didn't retaliate. Instead, he entrusted himself to the one who judges justly. Right? And so that's what the Lord is your defender. The Lord is my defender. The Lord is the one who speaks forth in truth. Others will say all kinds of things about you. They'll say you're this and you're that. The question is, Lord, what are you saying? And Lord, I come to you not asking you to validate my own presuppositions about myself, but may I walk in humility and recognize I could have missed the mark. Have I gone to the left or to the right? I lay myself before you. Show me your way. Show me your truth, and lead me in the way of everlasting. If I've gone to the left or to the right, bring me back to where you are walking, to walk in your ways. And that which I have openly proclaimed that is wrong, I will openly confess to bring healing. To walk, that we would walk. That it's often this idea how we criticize newspapers for making false big headlines and back page retractions, right? But that's often the nature of humanity in guarding their own flesh, right? That we will make big loud mistakes and quiet apologies. Oh, I guess I was wrong. And not to veer off, but I believe there are a lot of prophets who were making a lot of loud prophecies that need to loudly repent so that those following them will not continue to be led astray, that they need to turn and they've been prophesying from their own imaginations rather than from the word of the Lord. And so that's the kind of thing where the mouth boasting lies will be stopped up at some point, one way or the other. I'm just going to cling to the Lord. I don't know about you, but I'm just going to cling to him and let him be my defense. And that's who we look to. Amen? So let's keep seeking after him early and often, early in the morning and when we lay on our bed at night and through the day, to keep our eyes fixed on him, our hope in him, and he will lead us and guide us and vindicate. He'll take care of it. Amen? Amen. All right. Well, let me say good morning to anybody that I missed. I think I forgot to do that on Friday. So let me say good morning on the back end on Friday. I forgot. Let's see. I think Terry. Did I say good morning to you, Terry? Good morning, Terry. Shalom. I thought I did, but if I didn't, my apologies. And good morning to Joyce and to Joe. Good morning, you guys. And good morning. Oh, I did say good morning to Ron and Amy, and I forgot to say good morning to Margarita earlier, but good morning to you as well. All right. Well, if I did miss anyone, then I will catch it in, usually I'll close it and then I'll see someone's face or someone's name that I missed. Well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.